Greetings ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs, and today I welcome you guys back to another episode of Advanced Wars in real life with myself and Panzergraf, the series where we go out into the forest with other grown-up men and pretend to be soldiers by shooting each other with toy guns. If you are new to Airsofting and you have no concept of what it is, I did a nice introduction to it in my first episode, which you can check out by clicking the link in the video description. I talk about the origins of Airsoft and how it's played, so if you're unsure about the rules, you can go watch that, but in case you don't, here's a TLDR version of it. We are out in the forests, we got guns that shoot plastic bullets. Usually it hurts a little bit when you get hit, but you get over it. When you get shot, you have to move back to a spawn point and wait a certain amount of time before you can return to the match. Sometimes there's an objective that we must complete to win, such as holding a hill or capturing a crate. But at the end of the day, how you win an airsoft is pretty much by shooting the enemy before they can shoot you. So today we played 3 matches, all of them with varying victory objectives, but they all involved this crate in one form or another. I don't really have a map of the playing field this time around, so I made this masterpiece in MS Paint to illustrate the first battle. Yeah, I know, I'm really talented. Our team, Team FLECKTARN, starts here, while the opposing forces begin over at this position. The crate is placed somewhere in the middle, but we don't know where it is prior to the match starting, and we'll need to locate it, and then bring it to this hill, where it needs to be defended for 20 minutes. If the opposing team manages to intercept the team carrying the crate, they can take it for themselves and carry it to the hill to become the defenders instead. Normally, we use a system called Buddy Heal, where anyone can revive anyone by placing their hands on a fallen ally's chest for 30 seconds after they get shot to bring them back into the match. But in this particular battle, we run with medic rules. There are 2 medics per team who can revive fallen allies by placing their hands on their chest for 60 seconds. This greatly limits how easy it is to revive each other, and it means that getting shot is a lot more punishing. The medics can be revived if they fall too, but only by 2 members of the same team healing them for 2 minutes. So if you are the medic and get shot, you will severely handicap your team. I volunteered to be one of the medics for the first match, as I haven't tried it before. And so the first match begins. The crate is placed and it's time for the teams to locate it. Prior to the match starting, we actually make the decision to intentionally let the enemy team find the crate first and carry it to the hill. We reckon that the attacking side probably has an advantage. We can just storm the enemy position from all sides and just take the crates and win the match that way. So we take our sweet time and we don't really attempt to even look for the crates. It doesn't take long until we hear the enemy shouting and we know that we're on the clock. At this point, they are currently escorting the box to the hill, so we attempt to intercept them and hopefully take a few of them down before they can entrench themselves in a more defensive position. It's kind of hard to advance though, as they have the high ground, and we have to be very careful when we advance towards them. Since I am a medic in this battle, I have to stay in the back, as when I get picked off, 2 of my teammates have to go out of action for 2 minutes to get me back, which is pretty disastrous when we're on the clock. I must say, I sort of regret my decision to be a medic for this match, as being the guy with the camera, it would be nice if I could get some more frontline shots. As the guy responsible for getting people up, I am mostly stuck just waiting behind this rock for a majority of the offensive, but hey, we all have to do our assigned tasks, and mine is staying alive so I can keep the others alive. Luckily, Panzergraf is on the front line, so at least we get to see his perspective. Panzergraf and the rest of the vanguard attempts to advance towards the hill, but the enemy is entrenched very deep down in it. He locks them down with some suppressing fire, but eventually he's picked off due to their superior positioning. It's very hard for us to advance in this position. The clock is ticking and we're running out of time, so we decide we need a change in plans. The enemy have fortified themselves deep in the hills, and any frontal assaults we attempt ends in defeats. We therefore decide to split up into 2 groups, with one keeping the enemies engaged in the front, making them think we're all coming from one direction, while a small second group circles around their hill and attempts to attack them from behind. Since we have 2 medics on our team, we place 1 medic in each of the squads, and I end up being in the one that is sneaking around to attack the enemy from behind. Here we make a treacherous climb around the side of the hill where they are defending, hoping that they won't notice we are sneaking up on them. We don't expect to meet many enemies here, as we believe they're all fortified on our left-hand side, but just as we are about to come around, we encounter a lone scout. He wisely waits for my allies to pass by and then tries to pick me off since I'm the medic in the back. I don't want to shout for my teammates to come back and help me, since that might alert the enemies to our presence, so instead I get into a one-on-one firefight with him, just hoping I'll be able to take him down before he takes me. Luckily, my position is superior, as again I have the high ground as well as a huge cliff to take cover behind, while he's sort of hunkered down awkwardly behind some logs. After a brief altercation, I score a hit and take him down. In hindsight, I'm actually very surprised that this guy didn't yell out to signal his teammates about us coming around their flank, but I think the reason he was sort of being quiet was that he was in stealth mode and maybe he didn't want to alert my allies in the front so that they'd come back to assists. It may also be that he was caught up in the heat of battle and wasn't thinking clearly, but thinking back on it, if he had just yelled out at the top of his lungs that the enemy was approaching around their flank, he probably would have completely ruined the assault for all of us, so yeah, he sort of did a big mistake here. Oopsie! Meanwhile, Panzergraf and the frontal assault squad are inching closer, keeping the defending team occupied. Their job isn't actually to win or take the hill, they just need to keep the pressure up, which they are doing wonderfully. As my squad starts to climb up the hill from the back, we expect to start encountering some enemy soldiers soon, but what we did not expect was to meet an enemy sniper so far in the backlines. This guy, who is called Brad, is a very good shot, known for being extremely accurate with a sniper rifle, and he wisely picks me off first before I even know he's there. Luckily, one of my teammates is super fast to react, and he runs up and guns him down at close range before he can reload. But how he knew to lie in wait here behind the rest of his team is completely beyond me. He probably spotted us approaching from a distance and decided to go take us on by himself. Again, I am very surprised that Brad didn't bring some teammates with him to help defend from the rear, or at the very least call out to his allies that we were coming from the back. Just like the scout from before, the enemy's unwillingness to actually cooperate as a team is hurting them here. If they signaled to each other that a squad was coming in behind them, rather than attempt to take us on solo, they would have ruined our plan, but thanks to their lack of communication, our flank attack is still a secret to them. Even though I got shot by the sniper, two of my teammates spend 2 minutes reviving me before the flank squad continues onwards. Meanwhile, Panzergraf and the frontal assault squad is making some pretty good progress as our team is beginning to move in from the back, forcing them to divide their attention, which reduces the strength of their defenses. We are now hitting the team from two sides, and we are picking them off one by one. But in the middle of the attack, the weapon of one of my teammates jams right as we are about to charge over a cliff. Because I noticed that one of my other teammates have been shot, I decide to think outside the box and hand him my gun as I run past him, seeing as I'm going to be busy running around being a medic, so it's not like I'm going to be shooting much. This allows him to keep fighting while I go to revive my fallen teammates. With the pincer attack in full effect, the enemy starts to fall, allowing us to advance from two fronts. It doesn't take long until we completely overwhelm them on the hill and recover the crates. Team FLECKTARN wins the first match. For the second match, we are doing an escort mission. This time around, Team FLECKTARN starts with the crates, and we have to transport it to this location behind the enemy spawn line. The enemy team cannot pick up or move the box physically, they can just try to delay its progress by shooting the people carrying it. If we can get the box to where it needs to be within 30 minutes, we win the match, but if the enemy team can delay us for long enough, they win instead. The initial tactic seems to be simple, having two people carrying the box while the rest of the team spreads out to defend the carriers, inching the box forward and hopefully making it before the time runs out. But we get together and plan a different strategy. We decide to split up into 3 groups. One main assault force, which will attack from the front, keeping the enemy occupied, similarly to what we did on the hill. The second group consists of 3 people who will circle around the edges of the field, only to come in behind the enemy spawn, and hopefully be able to stealth into the location where they need to put the box down. We rely on the enemy not having any guards in the rear lines, since they'll hopefully expect us all to attack from the fronts. Me and Panzergraf are part of the third group, and our job is to simply intercept anyone headed towards the path of our box carriers, allowing them to move unhindered, and hopefully without taking any engagement, so they can quickly circle around and hit the enemy in the back before they notice what's up. Me and Panzergraf won't need to shoot anyone or apply any pressure, we just have to keep whoever is in this area of the map occupied long enough for our box carriers to make it behind enemy lines. The match begins, and me and Panzergraf double time over to our assigned spots, and it doesn't take long until we run into opposing forces and are pinned down. There are at least 4 hostiles in front of us, so we are at number 2-1. But this proves that us going here was absolutely necessary, as the opposing forces expected us to try and outflank them.
We are taking heavy fire, and someone is also moving in on our flank. If you pay attention, you can see a bullet flying past Panzergraf, almost hitting him.
Unsatisfied with our current cover, me and Panzergraf retreats and then decides to circle around the enemy's flank. From this current position, to give you an idea of what's going on, the squad carrying the crate are over here, while the enemy is to our left this way. So we are effectively acting as a buffer squad between the enemy and our objective, allowing them to move completely unimpeded.
In front of me, I see Panzergraf getting picked off by an enemy, though I don't see the attacker anywhere. I decide to take a chance and revive him, hoping that the attacker won't be able to hit me from my current position, which ends up being a huge mistake. I get hit in the hand, which is probably the worst spot to get hit. It really fucking hurts.
After walking back to our spawn and waiting a bit, me and Panzergraf decide that our job is done, and so we catch up with the main squad, helping them keep up the pressure on the front lines. At this point, the enemy's flank guard have no doubt reported back to their base, announcing that they successfully defended against their attackers, completely unaware that all they prevented was a diversion. Shortly after we join up with the main squad, we hear the victory shout from the enemy base. Our crate carriers successfully sneaked behind enemy lines and deposited their objective in the victory zone. Our strategy was a complete success. They had absolutely no clue what we were doing. We later heard that the group carrying the crate was able to make it all the way to the objective without even firing their weapons. Team FLECKTARN wins again. For the third and final match, it's starting to get dark outside and some people want to go home, so we decide on a very quick format, a simple 20-minute defend match. This time around, Team FLECKTARN starts out here, and all we need to do is to defend the crate for 20 minutes against the opposing forces. If they can make it over to it and as much as touch it, they will win the match. Both me and Panzergraf are posted in the rear guard where the crate is located. We have these amazing stone forts which provide excellent cover, but it also means that we will be immobile for most of the match, simply shooting the enemy as they come towards us. It is a lot of fun to be on the defensive, but it doesn't exactly make for an entertaining video, as there really isn't much to comment on strategically. It's pretty much just sit still and shoot at whatever moves and stall for time. Halfway through the match, it's looking pretty good for us. The enemy can't even properly advance due to our superior cover, but of course it doesn't take them long before they realize that the way to win is to circle around us and hit us from the flank, and that's exactly what they're doing. I noticed that a squad of 3 to 4 enemies are coming in on my left flank, and all I can do is hope that my teammates on the left can hold them off, as I'm busy defending from the fronts. Sadly, my camera runs out of battery in the middle of the fight, so we only have Panzergraf's perspective from now on. You don't really get to see me get shot, but what happens is that I try to call out for Panzergraf here, but the moment I get hit, I am not allowed to talk anymore, so I can only really sit there and hope that he noticed something. Sadly, he doesn't, and he gets picked up from the left just as I did, and with both of us down, the enemy team rushes over to the crate, securing a win. Team FLECKTARN loses. So with 3 matches, we got 2 wins and 1 loss. I was pretty satisfied with the strategies we managed to pull off in the first 2 matches, especially the second one, as it always feels good when you manage to trick the enemy, and I think that me and Panzergraf's diversion attack was really what solidified that match. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Advanced Wars in real life. Give it a like and a comment and let me know what you thought about it, and let me know if you also do Airsofting and what kind of strategies and matches you like to do. My name has been Mangs, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!